Hello and welcome to my 22-week pregnancy update with baby number 8. This week I've been feeling well again and I haven't had any heartburn and everything's been pretty good. I have had a scan this week and I've also seen the midwife, so there's lots to tell you. I have noticed that emotionally I'm still really sensitive, and not with people inside this house, but people that I talk to outside of the house. If they say something that I feel is a bit funny, then I think I'm oversensitive to it at the moment, but I have to keep telling myself that it's just my pregnancy hormones, and that, you know, there are some people in this world that are not particularly nice, or they don't know any better of how to behave, and normally I can accept that, but when I'm pregnant I feel a bit over emotional. I feel like I'm being attacked sometimes by people, but really, rationally, I know that it's not a personal thing. I had a weird nervy pain down the front of my right thigh the other day. It was for the whole day, it just kept coming and going in waves, and I think it's because the baby's head was low down on that side, pushing down, and so it's causing this weird nerve pain, but I haven't had it since, so I hope it doesn't return. Another thing I noticed this week is that I have been growing skin tags. I know it's gross to talk about, but you know, like little bits of skin that are just protruding really slightly, about a millimetre or two. And I had this with my previous pregnancy, and what I did then was I waited until after I'd had the baby and all the pregnancy hormones had gone, and then I got some sterilised surgical scissors and I just snipped them off, and they didn't come back until this pregnancy, and then the hormones, I think, have started them off again. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'll just wait until all the hormones are out of my system and then just snip them off again. Sounds gross, and I really didn't want to do it. The thought of it is worse than it actually is. It didn't hurt and it didn't bleed or anything, so yeah, I'll just do that. So I had my scan, and if you've been following along on my pregnancy journey, then you will know that originally I wasn't going to have a scan, and that's why I've had it so late. So yeah, 22 weeks is quite late for a scan, I think. So we wanted to go and find out whether or not I'm having twins, because my husband thought he had 2 heartbeats on the Doppler, and he thought that the movement was more than one baby, but alas, he was wrong, and it is just one baby, and the baby is pretty big, so that's why it felt like perhaps there were 2. So while we were there, my husband wanted to find out the gender, and as he wanted to find out, I did too, because I didn't want him knowing and me not knowing. So we found out the gender of the baby, and I'll insert a little clip where I revealed to the children what sibling they were going to have. I've just got back from my scan and we know the gender of the baby now, so I'm just going to tell the other children what it is. I've got some clothing in here which they can have a look at and decide what gender the baby is from that. So, what do you think it is?
A boy. A girl. One boy. One girl. I think it's a boy. I think it's a boy and maybe a girl.
Have a look in the bag and see if you can tell. No, Henry, wait. Go on, have a look in the bag and see what you think.
Is it a boy?
Yeah.
I knew it! Another boy.
So 4 boys and 4 girls now.
That's good. This is equal. That? I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to be a girl. I was right. No. It's going to be a boy.
So, as you saw, we are having a baby boy, which is fantastic because that means that we're going to have 4 girls and 4 boys. So it's nice and even, nice and balanced. And I really like knowing now, because we can just think about boys' names. We don't have to worry about choosing a girl's name. Boys' names I find a lot more difficult to choose than girls' names, but at least we don't have to think of girls' names as well. I think we may have a name in mind, but we sometimes change our mind right at the last minute, so it's probably not worth saying anything yet. I also like the fact that we know the gender of the baby, so that I can now go up into the loft and get the bag of baby boys' clothes and I can get them ready. Rather than me having to get both lots down and get them ready, I can just get the one lot down, prepare them, put them away nicely, and I can also start to make things for the baby, because in case you didn't know, I love knitting and crocheting and sewing and all those things, so I can start doing that and do lots of blue clothes. Also, when I have a baby, I always make them a new blanket, so I'm going to be starting to crochet a nice big blue blanket for the baby. At the scan they did say that they thought that I was a week more along in my pregnancy than my dates, but my dates are always right. I know my dates are right, and I also know that I have bigger than average babies, especially when they're boys. I have big boys, so yeah, my boys are around 9 pounds. I have had one over 9 pounds, so I'm expecting this one to be big as well. So the dating isn't that accurate at 22 weeks in the scan, when you have a scan, so I'm sticking to my original dates for sure. It doesn't seem like much of a big deal, just a week's difference, but I know that it's probably going to cause a few problems towards the end of the pregnancy, because my babies are usually late. So my first baby was 10 weeks early, but that was different. Then baby 2 was 10 days late, baby 3 was 10 days late, baby 4 was 10 days late, baby 5 was 11 days late, baby 6 was 12 days late, and baby 7 was 12 days late. So I'm guessing that this baby is going to be 12, maybe even 13 days late. And if the hospital and midwives and everybody are adding a week onto that, you know, they're going to be pushing me hard to have an induction, which is something I don't want, because I have had that with baby number 1, because my waters broke 10 weeks early, then I had to be induced, and I felt like it was more painful. Maybe that was just because it was my first baby, I don't know, but it's kind of always put me off wanting to be induced. Excuse me. So I'm going to have to really argue with them about the dates at the end of the pregnancy, but I'm just going to put that to the back of my mind for now, and I'll have to deal with it at the time. So that is pretty much it in terms of what I can think of to tell you at the moment. So I'll just show you my bump now and take a measurement. My weight hasn't changed since I last told you 2 weeks ago. So I've put on, I think it's 9 or 11 pounds during the whole pregnancy. And that may surprise you if you watched my holiday vlogs, because we did not stop eating the entire week. But somehow I managed not to put on any weight, probably because we did lots of walking and swimming. So yeah, that hasn't changed. So I'll just show you my bump now and take a measurement. So that's how big the bump is this week. And I don't know if you can see that, but it is still measuring 35 inches. So that hasn't increased in size either since 2 weeks ago when I told you. But I'm not worried, because I had the scan and the baby's big anyway, so that's all good. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my 22-week pregnancy update, and I'm going to continue doing my weekly updates, so if you want to carry on watching them, then please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. See you later. Bye.